So let me start off, first of all, with just really talking about this very valuable opportunity, the Tech Hubs program, and really just going to dive a little bit deeper on that. And as I mentioned at that point, open up to question and answers and a discussion space. Just an overview of the program, which I think is going to be really helpful. I think you all brought up some valid points thus far. This is an initiative by the Economic Development Administration, or EDA, to bolster regional technology and innovation in the United States. The program will help regions across the country attract and retain top talent, develop new technologies, and commercialize products and services that will create jobs and boost economic growth. The program specifically targets regions with the capacity and potential to become globally competitive in future industries and technologies within a decade. Please note that this is not an official EDA webinar. It's through us, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. We are a federally designated economic development district, but we are not the same as EDA. The Tech Hubs program concentrates on three key aspects: geographical concentration, 10 critical technologies, and a 10-year time frame for global competitiveness. These technologies in particular are artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum science, robotics, advanced communications, biotech, data storage, advanced energy tech, and advanced material science. EDA seeks to strengthen U.S. economic and national security through place-based investments in regions with the assets, resources, capacity, and potential to become globally competitive within approximately 10 years in the technologies and industries of the future. And for those industries, companies, and the good jobs they create to start, grow, and remain in the United States, the big picture EDA concept. It's important to note that EDA is not seeking separate applications from the same region for each of these industries. That is, we do not want to have any duplicate applications if there can be an opportunity for applicants to work together within the same industries. It's to create a greater ecosystem. Talking about the consortia structure, consortia applying for the program have to meet specific eligibility criteria, maintain a certain legal structure, and fulfill defined roles. It should include a diverse set of organizations such as higher education institutions, industry groups, economic development organizations, and labor organizations to bring in varied perspectives and resources. Additionally, each consortium must identify a lead member who acts as the primary point of contact and ensures focus towards the common goals. This diversity within the consortium promotes better representation from all community strata and fosters innovation by combining different viewpoints. Relative to the program implementation phases, the program is really two phases, in which one is split between two. Phase one involves awarding strategy development grants and designating regions as tech hubs. Then in phase two, the designated tech hubs will compete for funding to implement their projects. There are three pathways for application: designation only, both designation and strategy development grant, and strategy development grant only. You may ask yourself, how do I know what to apply for? For designation only, you want to ask yourself or state to yourself, our region is ready to apply for implementation funding and does not need a strategy development grant to further organize. To be both a designation and a strategy development grant, you want to say to yourself, our region is close to ready to apply for implementation funding, and additional resources would strengthen our coordination, planning, and phase two applicant development. To apply for a strategy development grant only, you would state, our region has relevant assets, resources, capacity, and or potential, but we need to do significantly more coordination and planning to be ready for implementation funding. We do not wish to apply for implementation funding this year. That's important to note. So as I mentioned, designated tech hubs will compete for funding for implementation projects to help propel the region into a self-sustaining, globally competitive tech hub. Going into each of the three a little bit more specifically, for strategy development grants, these grants range from $400,000 to $500,000 in federal funds and are designed to help consortia develop a comprehensive plan for becoming a tech hub. The plan should include a detailed description of the region's assets and capabilities, a strategy for commercializing products and services in the key technology areas, and a plan for engaging underserved communities. The grants can fund activities such as coordinating planning processes, identifying partnerships, conducting assessments, updating goals and strategies, implementing policy changes, developing workforce plans, hiring a coalition leader, and preparing for strategy implementation. Applications will be evaluated based on stakeholder engagement, consortium capacity, and the potential to meet designated criteria. The timeframe typically ranges from 18 to 36 months. These grants provide crucial resources for regions to coordinate, plan, and develop their applications for implementation funding or designation in future competitions. Relative to scoring, all complete applications for strategy development grants will undergo a two-step review. First, they will be reviewed by at least 3 individuals and scored against the following 3 criteria, which are worth 15 points each for a maximum of 45 points. 15 points can be earned for each criteria, as I mentioned, and they will be broken down towards the extent to which the project will strengthen engagement of and collaboration among regional stakeholders, private, public, and nonprofit entities, etc., whether or not they are members of the consortium. 2, the consortium's organizational and leadership capacity, including its financial and management capacity. And 3, the project's potential to increase the capacity of the region to achieve designation criteria. Relative to tech hub designations, the designation of a tech hubs is a recognition from EDA that a region possesses the necessary assets, resources, and capabilities to become globally competitive in a specific technological area or areas. It signifies that an investment in the region over the next 5 years can catalyze its emergence as a self-sustainable and globally competitive hub in that technology field over the next decade. EDA will designate up to 20 regions as tech hubs in phase 1. Designation is based on the strength of the region's plan and its potential to become a globally competitive technology hub. Designation, if unfunded, is a strong signal of a region's potential and is a prerequisite to applying to the phase 2 NOFO, through which EDA will award implementation funding. To qualify for designation and score the maximum of 51 points, a consortium must demonstrate technology-based potential for global competitive for a maximum of 15 points. And for 6 points each, identify existing regional assets and leverage programs, ensure strong sector participation, foster regional coordination and partnerships with a shared vision, promote equity and diversity through engagement of underserved communities, have the necessary regional workforce capacity and collaboration with labor organizations, implement innovative lab to market approaches that prioritize technology transfer and promote global competitiveness, and demonstrate impact on economic and national security by aligning with national priorities and supporting regional and national goals. And as I mentioned, all of the rest for the maximum of 6 points each. Please note that designations and strategy development can be done concurrently, as I mentioned earlier. So phase 2, which is expected to be released in the fall of 2023, is really where the rubber hits the road. EDA expects to award approximately $50 to $75 million to each phase 2 implementation grant awardee. To be eligible for an implementation grant, a designated tech hub must have a strong and well-defined plan for commercializing products and services in its selected core technology area and have the capacity to implement its plan. Kind of going into specific geographic eligibility, I think, which was mentioned, and geographic diversity. When defining their geography, consortia can identify a metropolitan statistical area, or MSA, or a similar area. They don't even have to be adjacent, but they do have to be part of this larger ecosystem. The program emphasizes geographic diversity and includes provisions specifically designed to foster innovation and job creation in small and rural communities. That's a very important thing to note. Geographic diversity and representation are ensured in the awarding of strategy development grants and tech hubs designations. At least 1/3 of grants must benefit small and rural communities. At least 1/3 of grants must include a member of an established program to stimulate competitive research. I think it's called EPSCoR, at eligible state or territory, which in New England would be Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont, essentially every state except Massachusetts. Furthermore, for tech hub designations only, at least one designated eligible consortium is headquartered in a low population state. For New England states that would meet that definition, it would be Northern New England, which is Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Geographic constraints include having at least 3 tech hubs in each EDA regional office, the Philadelphia region being ours, which are all of the states north and east of Virginia, including Washington, D.C., as well as, I would say, the Atlantic territories of the United States. So Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and I think a couple others. 2 additional tech hubs must be designated based on engagement with and benefits to underserved communities in metropolitan areas, which I'll go a little bit further into in the next slide. So it's not just about technology and innovation. The Tech Hubs program also values equity. It aims to enhance the diversity of the U.S. innovation economy, ensuring opportunities reach all corners of the nation. Applicants must clearly identify the populations benefiting from their projects, ensuring economic advantages are shared amongst all communities, including underserved ones. Equitable sharing of benefits is prioritized, including high-wage jobs, breaking barriers, supporting minority-owned businesses, and fostering broad-based economic growth. Consortia are encouraged to collaborate with institutions serving underrepresented populations in STEM, creating pathways for historically underrepresented individuals in the innovation landscape. Just thinking about the deadline, please note that the upcoming deadline for phase 1 applications will be 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on August 15th of this year. We encourage all interested parties to prepare and submit their applications ahead of this deadline to ensure that they are considered for the program. Applications received after this deadline will not be reviewed or considered. Only those that are designated as technology hubs in phase 1 will be permitted to apply to phase 2. It is anticipated that the notice of funding opportunity for phase 2 will be made available in the fall of 2023. Talking about the roles of MAPC, our involvement in the Tech Hubs program will be limited to exploring if an eligible applicant team exists or not. We will provide high-level advisory services during this process, but our engagement may be curtailed after today. Our role will also include facilitating connections between potential partners and similar applicants. Additionally, we will offer letters of support to applications that align with our values, particularly our comprehensive economic development strategy, which is on our website. However, please note that MAPC will not be an applicant for the Tech Hubs program, particularly not a lead applicant. So I'm sure you all have questions. I think there are things that I can definitely try to tackle in our conversation today, but, so please feel free to reach out to ourselves, but also the Tech Hubs program has a really responsive email address, particularly which you can find in the notice of funding opportunity. I've also listed it here. You can also find more resources on the website. I sent you all a summary document where at the bottom states some really good links for that connecting to the Tech Hubs program and website, as well as individuals facilitating it from EDA. And just quickly, as another plug that I think is just really closely connected to the discussion space we have, we also have the Build to Scale program, also known as B2S, which sounds like the name of a K-pop group. It aims to strengthen equitable ecosystems and increase access to capital for startups, fostering regional economic growth. This has happened pretty much for the past 10 years that I've been working for an economic development district. So it's something I see that is a continuing process. Tech hubs tend to be a bit newer. It's split into the Venture Challenge, which supports high growth technology entrepreneurship and promotes inclusive access to proven support models. The Capital Challenge, which focuses on increasing access to capital in communities with limited risk capital by supporting early stage investment funds and training programs. The program offers multiple funding tiers, including an Ignite tier for organizations building nascent technology innovation and ecosystems. Eligibility for the program extends to cities, counties, states, nonprofits, higher ed, public-private partnerships, and other entities supported by a state or political subdivision. So this is where I'm going to stop the recording. And if I know how to do it, pause recording. Oh, here it is.